Okay, here we are with Grandpa and Reese telling an important part of family lore.
What's lore mean?
History.
Okay.
Stories, sort of history in a story sense. So these two pieces, this display chest and Madonna here.
Madonna?
Yeah. So wait a minute, I'll tell you. So those are, I think, the only remaining part of my mother's dowry. In other words, the furniture and furnishings that, well, but and the silver that you have actually, that my grandmother bought for my mother when she got married. And when she got married, she was in England. And then shortly after that, she and my father moved to Portland, Oregon. So Grandma Kaufman, though, shopped for furniture and furnishings in Germany and had them crated up and sent to Portland, Oregon. Now, this was in about 1936, already at a time where the Nazis the Nazis were essentially in power. And it was very difficult for Jews to either get money out of Germany or to get possessions out of Germany. So Grandma Kaufman bought some reasonable furniture and some antiques, including this piece, in part to get money out of Germany. And then, in order to indicate that this was not a shipment of a Jewish family, she bought Madonna. So this is a figure of Mary, and the baby is missing, and Mary's arms are missing, but it clearly is a Madonna. It's probably from the 14th, 15th century, and it still has some of Mary's lipstick and rouge and so on, an original painting. Because although we think of these statues as always being beautiful wood like they were painted bright colors when they were made in the 13, 14, 1500s.
Did that one used to be painted?
Yes, and if you come, you can see a little bit of her lipstick and you can see some color on her face that survived.
Oh yeah, you can see.
Okay, so it was listed in the manifest for this shipping crate as a Madonna, which is what it was. So whether that's the reason the shipment made it intact to Germany, to Portland from Germany, I don't know. But the reality is it did come intact from Germany to Portland. So my parents, my mother and father, who were not deeply religious, though they were very Jewish, they decided to keep this.
Because they liked it.
Because they liked it and because it was an important antique. And it was always in the living room. And my father used to use it as a tie stand. Because when he'd come home, he'd take off his ties, he'd put them around Madonna.
No.
So when I grew up, I was always a little uneasy about having Madonna in my house because I was Jewish. I always thought it was a little strange, even though I knew the history. So when Bev and I got together and when we moved in together in 2003, finally I didn't need to feel guilty anymore because she's Christian and it's perfectly reasonable that we have Madonna in the house. So that's Madonna. She comes, as I said, from my mother's family. But the other two wood pieces we have, one of which is upstairs, but then we have this one. So after the Second World War, my father got involved in helping people who had lost property because of the Nazis recover that property, what was called restitution, still is called restitution law. Most, but not all of his clients were Jewish because the Nazis confiscated whatever they wanted from a lot of wealthy aristocratic people, not only Jews. So my father always took his cases on contingency, which meant he was paid out of the proceeds of what he recovered. Well, if you recovered art, the only way you could get money is to sell it. So he often said, don't sell the art, give it to me. And he got many very important pieces of art that way. These are not necessarily important, but they're very nice. These are probably a little more modern than Madonna. Obviously, it's in better shape. So this, your mother and I then, so when my father died in 1985, this one came to your mother and me. And we both liked it, but we couldn't figure out what it was. And there's Lazarus is the rebirth of Lazarus, and I've forgotten the exact story. In Christian mythology, is an important saint in Christianity, and there's something about that story with Lazarus having a dog that we thought that this was Lazarus, but we never were really sure.
The little guy?
Well, the whole thing, we thought. We weren't sure. We're not great Christian scholars, and all these things were made in the Middle Ages for the church or for wealthy Christian families. So, one day in Munich, we were in a museum and we saw this painting. Well, this is a picture of the painting, but we saw that painting and we said, that's it. So it's actually Saint, in German, Rochus, and the name in Italian is something like that. It's not Riccardo, but it's, I'd have to think about it a little bit more. But anyway, he is the patron saint of the plague. And so what he has on his leg is a bulbous. And you may know the plague, the real name of it is bubonic plague. It's a bacterial infection, and the bacterial cause these swellings that are known as bulba, and that's how it's the bubonic plague. And this guy went into the forest where he was saved by the dog who brought him a loaf of bread. And that's what you see here, a little more clearly portrayed. And this is an angel who came and saved him, and you see that there. So then we knew what it was. And then a year or two later, we made the connection. There's a big church in Venice that's made to him. It's no longer a church, it's now a museum. And that one in Venice is actually displayed in the, he's also displayed in the engraving here of an ancient or an old text. So that's St. Rochus.
So he was in the forest, so why did the dog save him by bringing bread?
Well, he went to the forest because he had the plague, and anybody who had the plague, because they didn't understand how it was spread, they thought it was like Ebola. You could catch it from another person, but in fact you can't. You catch bubonic plague from the fleas of rats. So it spread in the Middle Ages because all homes had rats, and the rats had fleas, and the fleas carry the bacteria. So you can't catch bubonic plague from another person, but they didn't know that. So anybody who had these sores was ostracized, sent away, because they felt that they were going to be the cause of death. Mm-hmm. So he was ostracized, sent out into the forest, but he was a city guy. You can see how he was dressed. So he didn't know how to survive in the forest. So he was going to die of starvation. But he was saved because this dog brought him a loaf of bread.
But wouldn't the plague kill him?
Not everybody dies from it. Okay. You know, it's like everybody didn't die from Ebola. Lots of people did, but
most people.
Depends, as we talked about yesterday, where you were and what other kinds of medical care you could get. Now, they didn't have any medical care, but anyway, leave that all as it may. That's who this is. It's Saint Rochus, the patron saint of the plague, which then since I was a doctor, seemed like a reasonable thing for us to keep. So that's the statues.